So those running in District 6 include former state lawmaker Dr. Richard Pan, as well as Lauren Babb Tomlinson, the chief of public affairs at Planned Parenthood Marmonte. Now another name has entered the race. Sacramento County District Attorney Thien officially launching his campaign for the District 6 seat today. In his launch video out today, he's a Democrat, speaking about his family's escape from Vietnam, his work in helping bring the Golden State Killer to justice, and his concern over affordability, healthcare, all while vowing to stand up to President Trump. He has a 25-year career as an attorney and was elected Sacramento County District Attorney in 2022. Thien joining us now live in studio. Did I get all that? Did I hit all the career points right? Did I leave anything out?
You definitely hit all the notes.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us. Congratulations on jumping into this crowded field. I articulated some of the latest names that have jumped in. But I'm curious, when did you decide you wanted to run for Congress?
You know, this was something that I've been thinking about, and it's an evolution because as a refugee from Vietnam, as somebody who rose to the position of district attorney, as somebody who helped bring the Golden State Killer to justice, I've spent my entire career fighting for the voiceless, the vulnerable, for victims. And I'm running for Congress because I want to defend our public safety and our freedoms. And I want to make sure that the affordability crisis is handled in the state of California and in our community, because the American dream is no longer in reach for so many people while people play politics in Washington. We need to focus on the basics. We need to focus on really what's happening here in Sacramento with the cost of living.
So was it were you thinking about a run for Congress before Prop 50, or when that started taking shape, you were like, okay, maybe this is something I want to do?
I've been thinking it for quite some time, because here's the deal. You know, when I came to this country, I couldn't understand or speak a word of English. I learned how to speak English by watching Bugs Bunny cartoons. I used to interpret for my mom going to the DMV or to the doctor's office. We were on food stamp. I had to wear the same pair of shoes for 2 years. I know what it is to be hungry and to be poor. And what I'm seeing right now is that so many young people, so many people in our community are getting crushed by inflation. So we really need to deal with the cost of living. We need to defend democracy to make sure that it works for everyone and not just a few.
Okay, so you've given me some of your why. This is a crowded field. No incumbent now that Congressman Bear is going to run in District 3. So what sets you apart from the other Democrats who are running in this race?
I wasn't born into politics. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I'm not an insider. Okay. I'm actually an outsider, an immigrant and a refugee, somebody who worked their way up through grit and determination. So the
other Democrats in the race, you think, are more of an insider class?
I think that there's some people that have been elected officials for many, many years.
Okay.
Before running for DA, I hadn't even run for class secretary. And so I spent 20 plus years of my life being a public servant, representing the community in the courtroom. And so my focus is on the things that make this country great. I came to this country receiving a second chance, and I see so many people not receiving that second chance. We need to make sure that we're just not getting by, that we're moving forward and just not barely getting by. You know, democracy works best when it works for everybody, not just the rich, the powerful, and the corrupt.
Every candidate I talk to, whether they're running for Congress, whether they're running for local or statewide office, the biggest issue, and polling says this, is affordability. Yet, you see it in the legislature, you see it in city halls, you see it in Washington. Nobody is able to tackle this affordability crisis. So is there something specific that if you are elected, that you will take with you to Washington, that you want to do, that could make people's lives better and make things more affordable in the district you would represent?
Absolutely. First thing, we need to lower taxes for working families and not billionaires. We see the price of and the cost of healthcare skyrocket. Why? Because of the big bad billionaire bill is what I am calling it. And what we're seeing here is a lack of affordability. People shouldn't have to choose between buying medicine and paying rent. We need to get back to basics, because what I'm hearing from Californians is we need to get back to basics. And what does that mean? It means putting food on the table. It means making sure that our communities are safe, our roads are safe. It means making sure that the American dream is affordable. So we need to lower taxes. We need to cut wasteful spending. We need to also really deal with the healthcare crisis as well, all while ensuring that public safety is there for the entire community and just not for some.
How do you do that, though? If you go to Congress and you're one of many, how do you, I'll just start with lowering taxes. How do you lower taxes?
I think one of the things we definitely need to do, first and foremost, is break Trump's MAGA majority. We need to have a check and balance, and there is no check and balance, so that when there is a bill, the big billionaire bill, what that does, it cuts taxes for the rich. But what about the working class family? What about those that are struggling? So we need to start there. We need to look at health care. We need to look at child care, all those things. But that cannot start until we break the Trump MAGA majority and have that check and balance so that we're listening to the working class family and not the rich.
So on that note, how would you work with President Trump? Let's say Democrats don't take back control of the House. Because look, I've covered you since you started as district attorney, and you have not shied away from pushing back. You know, we've covered you sparring with former Mayor Darrell Steinberg over the homelessness issue, and you saw it from a perspective of enforcing the law. So you will push back against your own party in a way. How would you buck the Democrats and maybe the party line and work with the president? Is that something you would be willing to do? Absolutely.
So here's, for example, what I did on the homeless crisis. I did sue the city of Sacramento. And since my lawsuit against the city of Sacramento, homelessness has dropped in the city of Sacramento, in Sacramento County, by 30%. Now, what have we done since then in addition? We have collaboratively worked with the city to create different programs to get people off the streets. And right now, one of my first endorsers, one of the first endorsements I received for this congressional run was the mayor of Sacramento, Kevin McCarty, because we are working together. And I've demonstrated that I can work with the right, the left, the middle, because it's not about going right, going left. It's about moving forward for the community. And I've demonstrated that. I've worked with federal partners, state partners, and local partners. And we need to continue to do that. I run a budget in terms of my office of over $100 million. I oversee 500 employees. And what do we do? Every single day, we deliver results, both in the courtroom and the community. That's what it's about.
Two more questions I think we have time for in this segment. I want to ask you, because I asked one of your colleagues who's running for, Democratic colleagues who's running for this same position yesterday. So one of the biggest stories looming over Washington over the past couple of weeks has been the shutdown. And I want to highlight this because if you are elected to this position and Congressman Adam Gray is reelected, you guys would be colleagues. He voted to end the shutdown and reopen the government, and again bucked his party. How would you vote if, when you looked at what was happening in Washington D.C., would you have voted to open the government?
First of all, every legislator needs to represent the voices in their communities. And what I would do in this situation is I would not vote to end the shutdown, because we need to deal with the subsidies. We need to deal with the skyrocketing health costs that are escalating. And people shouldn't have to, again, choose between buying medicine and paying rent. And so we need to deal with that. And frankly, we did not deal with it in terms of how that vote went down with the shutdown.
So you think Democrats caved?
What I believe is that I would not have voted to end the shutdown without concessions in regards to health care, because we need to deal with the health care crisis. We need to deal with the affordability crisis. We need to take a stand. At the end of the day, we need to take a stand against wannabe dictators like Donald Trump. We need to take a stand for the rule of law. We need to take a stand for women's rights. I was born in Vietnam. My family fled a dictatorship in Vietnam, and I never thought I would see it here. The rule of law is not supposed to protect the corrupt or the powerful, like Jeffrey Epstein.
So we were going to have a conversation before you announced you were running for Congress, because you have a new book out.
Yes.
Detailing your work with the Golden State Killer case. Correct. So what inspired you to write that?
You know, at the end of the day, I wanted to amplify the voices of victims. A lot of true crime books, they focus on the criminal and the crime. Instead, I want to focus on the generation of law enforcement officers that never gave up the search for the monster, and also to highlight the victims who turned pain into power, tragedy into triumph, to give them a voice. And that's exactly what we do, and we're giving a part of the proceeds to fund Phyllis's Garden, a nonprofit, survivors supporting survivors.
All right, Sacramento County District Attorney Thien Ho, now running for Congress in District 6 in this crowded field. We appreciate you giving us some time to talk about your campaign, and I know this is one of many conversations we're going to have leading up to Election Day next year.
Thank you, Nikki. Appreciate it.